This shop has generated over $30,000 in revenue in the past month and has only been in existence since 2022, and there are many more like it. But reality shows it's not as easy and cheap as other influencers make it out to be. While the potential for upside is huge in the print-on-demand business, so is the possibility of burning time and money if you don't know what you're doing. And it's not even your fault. It's due to the misinformation that is out there, that every product has an equal chance of success, or that once the setup process is done, you'll no longer have to lift a single finger and the money will come pouring in. When really, you need to be smart about it and leverage AI. So let me show you step by step how to outsource a big portion of the work to AI and also cut down on costs as much as possible. But how does print on demand actually work? First of all, there's a consumer, a customer that wants to buy something on the internet. Let's call him Gary in this example. Gary decides to buy something. Instead of going to his local store, he instead goes online and looks for a product on Etsy. Then he decides, okay, he's found the product that he wants, so he presses purchase. What happens now? Well, since this is a print-on-demand product, this order automatically gets sent to our supplier, which in this case we're going to be using Printify. They produce that item in their factory and then ship it directly to Gary with your branding on top. Basically, print-on-demand is a risk-free way of getting started in an online business because it can be run from a laptop. Once the setup is done, it is mostly passive, besides custom orders, which we'll get to, and you'll get a margin of 20 to 30% depending on your product. Pablo Picasso once said, "Good artists copy, great artists steal." Simply meaning you wanna look at the competition that is in this specific product niche that you're in and then model and create parallels of those existing products, and chances are if your competition is doing well, you will also do well. For example, you can recreate this dinosaur using Midjourney, you can simply recreate this sticker using Canva, and this t-shirt will be a custom design based on building blocks that we can put together in Canva. And we will get to that custom item part later in this video. Before we start, let me show you the tools that we're going to be using. Our step-by-step guide in this video is broken down into 3 parts: market research, setup, and product. First of all, in the market research, we'll be using Etsy to find the products that are currently selling well. In combination with Etsy, we'll be using Alura. Here we can see rough estimates of the profits that a shop is making as well as a specific product. Along with that, we'll also be using ChatGPT here and there. Now moving on to the setup, again we'll be using Etsy for setting our listing in connection with Printify as our supplier for creating the actual product and then shipping it out. As a disclaimer, Etsy by standard charges you 20 cents per listing that you make on there. So what I've done for you is I've put a link in the description where you can get your first 40 listings for free, and depending on what kind of product you will be choosing to sell, Printify will obviously charge based on what kind of item it is, as well as then the shipping costs, but we'll get onto that later. Now we'll be using the free version of ChatGPT for this entire tutorial, and here during the setup part we'll be using it in order to create a non-trademarked business name. Moving on, we'll be using Canva to create our logo as well as further down the line also our product. Here, it's optional to have the paid subscription model, which is gonna make your life easier, but it's not necessary, and wherever we use a paid feature, we will be showing you a free alternative. And then finally, inside of the setup process, we'll be using HelloCustom for creating those custom products. Now, here we are forced to pay $30 per month, as well as 29 cents per sale. So we'll get into the calculations of that later on. So once the market research and the setup is done, it's time to create our product. Again, we'll be listing our product on Etsy, fulfilling that product using Printify, creating the patterns and logos using Midjourney where necessary, otherwise we'll be using Canva, and then also leveraging ChatGPT to help us get good product ideas. And finally, we'll make use of Photopea, a free Photoshop alternative to create custom mockups for our listings. To begin with our market research, you first of all have to have a clear idea of what kind of product you want to be selling. Print-on-demand products can be put into 3 different categories. Number 1 are high-value, lower-margin products, which is, for example, physical products like this blanket, or for example any kind of t-shirt which costs $30 to $50. And once you remove the shipping costs as well as the production costs, you are left with your profit margin, and 20 to 30% is the sweet spot for these kinds of products. Now the second category are low value and higher margin products, which could be, for example, a digital download like a PNG or SVG file, or something like a sticker. Now the thing about these kinds of products is that you have to sell them in higher quantity in order to make a good profit, which then you also have to account for all the listing costs for each item that you put up on Etsy. For example, this store here has 956 listings. Obviously they weren't all started at one time, but rather gradually over time they increased their listings. For example, since this shop has been in existence since 2020, this single sticker has made $1,650, which is just a clever saying. And then finally you have the hybrid category, which are products which you can customize a part of it. What you want to focus on as well is choosing evergreen products, meaning products that sell at any time of the year and are, for example, not specific during Christmas. One more thing to also look out for is to only offer a limited amount of colors. Here inside Printify, when I select a product, go for t-shirts, just select any. Here you can see it has 17 color options for this single provider. Now the thing is that if you give too many color options, the potential customer might be overwhelmed, and so I would advise you to only offer between 5 to 8 colors. Now that you've decided on what kind of category you want, it's now time to select this specific product. So what you can do is search for, let's begin with very broad women's t-shirt, and as you scroll through here you look at the reviews. So this t-shirt has 2.2k reviews, and a rough ballpark as to the reviews is that you can 8 to 10x it, so meaning 8 to 10 times that amount of reviews, and that would be the total amount of sales of that product. So meaning that this product has most likely sold upwards of 20,000 times. And obviously this product has some sort of floral logo, which you can simply recreate using Midjourney, and I'll show you the process to getting there later on. Another example would be candles. In general, looking for the term at first, then seeing what kind of product has a good amount of reviews, and then you can see what kind of other products they are offering and going into that niche. For example, here it's Father's Day or fresh coffee, for example, and just niche down a bit, because if you start too general, then your competition is gonna be too big. Another tool you can use is called Alura, and basically it is able to scrape the data off of Etsy and show you the kind of sales that have been made as a rough estimate. So let's go to research, shop, go to revenue, let's say minimum monthly revenue of 10,000. And let's say the shop should be maximum 365 days old. Alright, so let's look at the top shops here. They're basically selling templates. You can see based on their logo and the name and here this banner that they're able to portray a premium brand of what specific kind of thing they are selling. So digital designs and templates written in big, and you see examples of that. And these guys with their wild oak stickers, the name explicitly tells you what kind of shop it is, and quality custom design in the banner. So keep all of these things in mind when you get to create your shop. Now, assuming you've already set up ChatGPT, I've now used it to help find potential niches that I want to go towards. In this case, I told it about what exactly it is that I'm trying to sell. So I'm using Etsy and decided on selling t-shirts with logos and text specific to that niche. And I wanted to be connected with that customer's interest / hobby. Gave it some examples of what I would expect it to be. And here I got back multiple tools where I can do market research myself. Here, identify interests and hobbies. I could just simply go to Google and search a list of hobbies, and then go on Etsy and, for example, go for archery t-shirt. and here's your sub niche, and then there are niches within that niche. For example, here, female archery, we can see what kind of products are selling well. So the first row are ads, so let's ignore those. But here you see 2.4k reviews, and it's in my bones archery. So you can input this into ChatGPT and get parallels from it. Alright, so here's my input. I simply described what I saw from this specific example and then let it help me create alternative art and texts. And here are examples of that. This is more of a motivational one, but depending on the artwork could also turn out really nicely. Arrow snapped in half but still flying towards a target with the text "can't stop, won't stop." I really like that one. In that previous prompt, it also then gave me specific examples of what kind of niches I could be targeting with my t-shirts. And here one of them was, for example, the board games or craft brewing. Take these examples and keep building on them. But one thing to keep in mind is that you want to begin niche down, and you can then later on try to also rank for these generalized items. Now, if you found a niche that you want to go into, one thing to keep in mind is that you don't want to infringe on copyright or trademarks, because that could get you in a whole lot of legal trouble, and we don't want any of that. So what you can do is search for Trademark USA, and here this link of search our trademark database. Then press this green button here. Let's take this example that I had previously. Can't stop, won't stop. Remove the dead ones. Can't stop, won't stop. Here has trademarks. But you look at the products, and since it's a t-shirt, that should be fine. You can see here it's makeup, blending, brushes and sponges, and this is a company. So in this case, we're still fine, but just keep this in the back of your mind and make sure to do your research beforehand. To make your journey to your first successful sale as easy as possible, I've compiled this PDF for you, which is gonna walk you through step by step how to first of all find a non-trademarked business name that you can use specific to your niche, then creating a business mail, as well as finally creating Printify and Shopify accounts and then connecting the two together so that you can get started right away. So to create your product, obviously you need the design, and the purpose of this video is to help you use AI in order to outsource most of the process. What I want to take in this example is there's an archer with an enormous exaggerated bow with the text "go big or go home." Now in this video I'm not gonna show you how to set Midjourney up inside of the Discord server. It's relatively easy. You can find tutorials online or look at the previous video that I've created regarding the comics made with AI. And as per usual, use /imagine and then input your prompt and go from there. Nice to know, if you've been using Midjourney for a bit and obviously have an active subscription, you can go to midjourney.com and then log in. Here you can actually start creating the images instead of having to do the entire setup process using Discord. Currently it's in an alpha, so on this account I wouldn't be able to use it, but let's switch over quickly to the one where we've created our images previously. Alright, so let's take the skeleton from this inspirational product and then combine it with the big exaggerated bow and the text below. So let's go for comic art style of skeleton and archery, shooting position to the side, holding a disproportionately large elegant bow with a quiver of arrow on its back and a white background. And you will see your results inside of Create. So this first result isn't exactly what I'm aiming for, so we have to adapt our prompt. So of the results, this bow actually looks quite good. But let's take that, let's fix his foot down here using the repaint, which is the equivalent of inside of Discord, this very region tool. You can just select an area and then input a prompt of what you want to change, or you can also use this rope tool for easier selection. So again, repaint, and let's select that area. And let's input skeleton's foot in strong stance. This one is the best. So let's go to upscale subtle, then just right click and save image. Now inside of Canva, create a design, make it a custom size down here, 12.5 by 16 inches. That is the regular t-shirt logo size. So let's go for create new design. Then upload your previously created image, adjust it to that canvas, and then input a new text, add a heading, go big or go home. Right, And then here you have some example categories. I personally like this premium font. Obviously you can select one that you can use as a free user. Center it a bit more. And here we have our design. And then you can go to share, download. You can only download PNGs with a transparent background using the Pro version. So what you can do is just download it as a regular PNG. Increase the size, download it, and then you can just search inside of a incognito window of whatever browser you prefer. Remove BG, select your picture, and here you have your result. Now on this remove background tool, you're only gonna be able to download for free a downscaled resolution of that image. So just download it and then go to something like upscale.media, input your image, and then here you have the results. Go to upscale 4x and enhance quality, and then download image. And as I mentioned, these tools are obviously free to use, so you'll only have a limited amount of uses. So what you can do is open a new incognito browser tab and then go at it again. And here's our final result without a background with decent image quality. The next example I want to show you is creating PNG or SVG files, meaning digital downloads that then other Etsy users can incorporate into their own designs to create apparel and items. For example, somebody just bought this Taco Cinco de Mayo dinosaur SVG and then put it onto a t-shirt along with a text and is selling that using print on demand. The easiest way to create that is using Midjourney. So we reverse engineer getting the prompt for this T-Rex dinosaur from Cinco de Mayo holding a taco in his hand and wearing a sombrero hat by taking this title and then simply changing it into a prompt that we can use. I ended up with the prompt Cinco de Mayo T-Rex holding taco wearing sombrero in black and white with a white background. Now obviously you again have the same tools, variation subtle and strong if you're not happy with this kind of result but like the basis. So let's press on variation strong and I'd say this one looks the best. So upscale it subtly and then again go through the same process as before. If you don't have Canva Pro, go to remove.bg, input your image, and then once downloaded go to upscale.media, input your image up here, and then you have your final result. Now if you do have Canva Pro, what you can do is go to add page, just add a page in here, go to uploads, upload your image, select the image, go to edit image, and then here BG remover. Check if you're happy with the results. Here there's something that should go away, so select it again, press edit image and press back on it, and then here using the erase and restore tools, simply zoom in, go along the edge and remove whatever you don't want in there. And then exit back out of it. And that's a perfectly usable result that you can then upload as an SVG. And obviously this entire process of using Midjourney and Canva applies to any kind of other product that you would want to customize. For example, you can use mugs or inside of home decor, some curtains, things like that. In the end, your imagination is the limit here. Now, since we took the measurements for a t-shirt logo, we're going to be using men's t-shirts. Bella and canvas is usually a bit softer, so let's take that, start designing, upload the image. So this black font is gonna work well with lighter t-shirt colors. Let's take, for example, here this white color. It works well with gray, also pretty good, but as soon as you go with darker t-shirt colors you can't see it anymore. So what you have to do is make a specific design for this color. So back inside of Canva, let's select the text and make it white. And then depending on again whether you have the Pro version of Canva, either export it like this with the transparent background or use the tools previously shown with remove BG and upscale image. Back inside of Printify, remove that logo for this specific t-shirt, upload your image, and here you go. And you can do again the same thing for the other darker colors. Depending on what kind of color t-shirt you have, you now have the fitting text and design on there. What's also important is to go to the previews up here and then look how your design would actually look on a real physical t-shirt. So you might have to rearrange some things, but for me this looks good. And you can change the colors here as well. Then press Save Product, and here you then select your title, images and mockups, as well as then inputting the title and the description down here. If you have a store connected, you can then publish it. Next, I will show you a way to create your own mockups with AI and attract the customer's attention much more than this bland mockup. To show you the importance of mockups, here is a great example of one that was able to sell up to $45,000 just this past month in revenue. And look at the actual basis of this image. So you have a girl standing on a sofa holding a blanket, and when you look at it, you can clearly tell that something here is Photoshop, and really we can make it a lot better by using AI. If we just wanted something generic, you can always go the easier route by simply creating a new document, make it a 4000 by 4000 pixel size, then go to Elements and search for whatever mockup you're looking for. In this case, I'll just take a sofa mockup. Let's take this, let's cut it down. You can either go to Edit Image and then crop, or just double click on it. Press enter to confirm, then readjust it to the image. So now you could take a frame, alright, and then you would be able to input your image on top of that. Now if you have something a little more complex, like let's say we want to take that previous blanket example, this one right here, there's not really going to be any mockups that we can use that will look good, and you have to pay for it anyways. So let me show you the free way of doing it. First of all, you have to decide what do you want to model after. So I want to take a similar style as this, so a small blonde girl standing on top of a sofa and holding that blanket out in front of her with a nice background behind her. So what I did is simply put in 10-year-old girl with shoulder length blonde hair, standing on sofa in nice home, holding a blanket in front of her with arms stretched out to the side, smiling and wearing a pink dress. Out of the four, this was the best one, and then I went with the repaint function, selected this part here and input pink blanket covering the entire view. And the final one I took was this one. So once you have that image, upscale it subtly, and now you're gonna go to photopea.com. Here you're gonna upload your image, come to the left side and over the rectangle select, click and hold, and then go over to polygonal lasso select and let go. Next, zoom in over that object that you want to select. In this case it's the blanket. Then press let go and click and keep selecting like this until you have your entire blanket selected. Leave a dot here at the bottom, then scroll over completely, hit the corner, and then finish at your initial starting point. And now the mask has been selected. Now simply press Command C, Command V, allow the pasting, and now you have a layer selected of just that blanket. Step 2, with that layer selected, come here to the bottom and select this Add Raster Mask. Now it should look like this. Next, you have to now input your pattern that you want to have put on there. So to create something of a similar style pattern where you can afterwards also input a name, for example in here, the way to do that is inside of Canva, creating a 4000 by 4000 pixels new design. Then I created this form by initially looking for elements, searching for heart. That was the original. What you can then do is simply copy paste it, readjust it to be layered on top, hold Option on Mac or Alt on Windows, and then just simply drag it a bit smaller and then change the color of it to a slightly lighter tone and rinse and repeat. Now since this currently has a transparent background, what I want to do is add 3 circles in there. So go to Elements. Next, with nothing selected, press Option 1 on Mac or Alt 1 on Windows. While holding Shift, I can just select all 3 and then drag them below. And here you go, now you have that exact shape. In order to create a tile, meaning it can extend in a pattern indefinitely, what you want to do is have 4 items touching each of the sides. So as you can see, this is touching there, this is touching here, and so on. It's not the item itself that has to touch, but the square around it. What you do then is simply copy the entire group, create a new page, and on that page, paste it. Now slide it to each of the 4 quadrants. So here, top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. Just slide it up and make it hit. The lines are helping you guide here. Copy paste it and repeat for the other 3 quadrants. And there we go. Now, to make sure that this actually works, simply export this page, upload it. Here I already did it. Now drag it to this quadrant, make it the size of a quadrant, and then simply copy paste it into the other 3 again. And now you can see you have a seamless pattern. Now with this previously created design, you could now straight up just put that on a blanket, for example. So back in Printify, just upload your image, making sure that the resolution is okay. And now down here you have the create pattern option, which Printify then creates that pattern for you, and you can drag it smaller or drag it bigger and leave space for a name, for example. Also, again, make sure to check your previews. Here select the realistic mockup color mode and then select one design, and you can see how it turns out. By leaving these 4 corners empty, what happens is that you now have space to play around where you can put in text for custom names. And then again, with the same tactic as before, exporting this and dragging it to each of these quadrants to make sure that the pattern is seamless. Now, depending on what kind of product you will be selling and the arrangement of that product inside of the mockup, you might want to, for example, create a rectangular shape. For this example, this was the pattern that I took, and this is the result that I ended up with the test that I did to make sure that the pattern worked, and then exported this slide right here and input it twice into this 1920 by 1080 pixel slide, and then exported this. So now I am left with a rectangular shape of my pattern. Now we're gonna take our previously created rectangular pattern from right here and overlay it over our blanket. So file, open and place, and then overlay it the way you want to have it over the parts of the blanket, like so. Then right click on that layer and press clipping mask. In this case I had to move it down a bit. So I selected the move tool up here, and with my layer being the top layer right here, I can simply drag it down and adjust. Next, duplicate the background layer and pull it up to the very top. Then up here where it says normal, select linear burn and then right click and again select clipping mask. As you can see right here, there's a part of my pattern that is not covered. So in order to move that, I first of all drag it up to the top layer, then drag it a bit over and again put it to the layer below. Now this works best with light colors, and since it's only a mockup for showing on your Etsy store, it's perfectly fine to have selected one simple color. You could also go ahead and already put in a name right here, like this store has on here. That's up to you. And then once you're happy with this image, go to File, Export As, and select PNG for the highest picture quality. So once you're happy with the mockup that you've created, it's now time to input it into your Etsy shop. While logged in on Etsy, you have your shop manager up here on the right. Press on it, and then here on the left side you have the listings. Select your listing. I've created this example one for now. Press on it, and then scroll down here to photo and video and press edit. Then add photo or video, press on it and simply drag it up to spot 1 for it to be the primary one. Then scroll down and press apply. Alright, and here is your mockup then. And I would advise you to change obviously your different mockups here. Then look at your inspiration and see what you can replicate. For example, this color chart you can replicate with all the color variants, and you can, for example, create this kind of size comparison inside of Canva. Just simply take a couple of images and adapt what you need. So this you could also create again with the same process as shown before with this image. Regarding the SEO of your listing, what you can do is, instead of having to pay for ads, which obviously there's money involved, so it doesn't make sense to start out that way, but instead you can use the organic tags and title SEO that Etsy provides you with. So choose a title based on winning products. For example, here personalized girl name blanket, custom baby blanket, All of that is search engine optimization, and craft yourself a name from multiple winning products this way. Now the next step that you want to do is also take into account the tags. So in order to find those, simply go onto a winning product and then scroll down. And here at the bottom, explore related searches. These are the tags. So here, these are the kinds of tags that this product was connected with, and you can input these tags manually. The way you do that is on your listing. You can either scroll down or up here, press on details, and then go a bit more down. And here are your tags. And now input your specific tags that make sense for that product. So let's take personalized blanket kits. And baby blanket. Alright, and these are your tags, and you in total can put on 13 tags. And this is how you do SEO the organic way. Now with this method, it's obviously more difficult to land on this first page, but that's where your niching down comes into account. Because the less competition there is, the more spread out the actual sales of the items are. And so therefore you're also able to land on these first 1 or 2 or 3 pages where people actually look through, and depending on what kind of mockup you have, you can get some good sales. And obviously you can always do paid ads later on, but it makes sense to start out this organic way with the least amount of costs involved. Now as a bonus, I want to show you how to create a custom product where the buyer can put in something personalized, for example their name or a date, something of that sort. And we're going to be using HelloCustom for this as mentioned, which regarding the pricing is going to be on a monthly basis $30 as well as 29 cents per sale. So you have to decide if you want to start out with preset designs that you've created yourself, as I've shown you how to do in this video, or if you already want to go the route of creating custom listings where buyers can put in any kind of personalization. You can start out with the trial and see where it goes. So for this example, I've taken the kindergarten teacher t-shirt where you can put on a customizable name. So here, this specific t-shirt has a name imprinted on it where you can put in a personalized name. And we want to recreate something like this. In order to have a good resolution as the output image, I've created a new canvas which is 4000 by 4000 pixels. And then what you do is you can look for some inspiration on Etsy, what kind of items and what kind of handwriting could be used and is selling well. As mentioned, I like this kindergarten Mrs. Smith with some flowers in there. So inside of Canva, look for kindergarten. Let's see what we have there for graphics. We have some flowers which we can use in the free version. So let's use these. First of all, duplicate them with Command or Control C and V, then double click or again press edit image and then crop and drag it down to one single flower like so. Alright, so now we have 3 different flowers that we can play around with. Next, let's get some text on here. So add a heading. Let's work on the text. So you have some categories here at the top. Let's take inside of comic, this lazy dog. I really like this kind of writing. And then let's change the colors a bit. That's looking good. Let's add some outline and then include the flowers. Now it's centered and we have enough space in the middle for our mockup. We will input an example name right here. So again, text. I like this clicker script, so let's use that. Depending on what kind of t-shirt color you will be using in this case, you might have to change your writing right here. So this black font is going to be good for any light colors. So for example, white or pink. But if you were to put this on a darker background, for example, a dark blue or dark green or black even, then you will have to change the font color of this. For HelloCustom, make sure that you memorize the font that you used and then remove the example text and download it as such. Now back in Printify, create your product and listing. So catalog, women's t-shirts. Again, Bella and Canvas is a more softer touch, even though it's a bit more expensive than Gildan right here, but it will be a better seller in this case. So let's create that. Start designing. Now in Printify, upload your pattern. And here under the colors you can see it still works on a gray one, but here you can't see the text anymore, so press make a specific design for each of those darker colors. And now remove the existing one and add your second variation with the white font. And there we go, fitting each of those perfectly. Again, check the previews and see if you're happy with the result. Also change the colors to realistic. So now save the product. Choose some of these mockups if you want. I'll just save the selection. And then publish. Once that's published, go over to your shop manager listings on Etsy, and here's your item. Again, adapt the title, the images, your description, as well as your tags for SEO purposes. And just below the description, you can preemptively press on Add Personalization and input right here the instructions for buyers of what they should put in, for example, their name or a date, and then press Publish Changes. Now over in HelloCustom, once you've created your account, press on Connect, grant access. Also connect your Printify. Once everything is connected, go to Templates on the left here, then Add New, upload PNG, and select your logo without the personalizable text. So right here it's just Kinder and Garten and no text in the middle. Then go to Text, Add Header, and then remove the text, input the tag name, and change the font to what you selected before. So I took Clicker Script right down here, and to show you an example of how it would look like, let's make the font black again. So this is what this text would look like. Increase the size of it since it's a bit too small. That's good. Then again, remove the text. So if the t-shirt is a dark color, then you would want to make this text white, and then afterwards connect it with the t-shirt from the product variants up here with only the t-shirts that have a dark color. And if you want this custom example of a lighter background, for example this white t-shirt, then you have to make a new template inside of here and make the fill color of this text black. Also input a title. This is for internal use only, so let's go for light backdrop. Then select your product variant. So here in this case I'm taking this one, and select the colors that you want it to go to. So here, athletic heather, let's check what the colors are. So there's a color chart right here, and athletic heather is this gray color. So we currently have the light backdrop, meaning light colors are fine. So athletic heather can stay and black has to go, since black wouldn't be visible on that. Same as dark gray, same as navy, and then white can stay. Press update, publish as active. And then let's create one more for the darker colors. New, upload PNG. Give it a title again, kindergarten, dark backdrop. Add our text, header, and white color is fine. Remove the text, and again the same font, clicker script. Down here, make sure the font size is the same. We had 600 before. That's right, Mrs. Smith, and you can very slightly see it right there. Wonderful. Now product variants, select the item. The ones that are already selected are out. And update. Also have to tag this as name, because that's the name that the person will be inputting on a custom product right here. Publish as active. And now finally, this is an example of what an incoming order from a customer would look like. So here you have the item, you have the design, which would be inputting that name, and then you have the quantity, size, color, and the personalization. Basically the text of that person telling you their personalization options, and you can simply press approve or delete, download, or edit. And that's all the manual labor that you will have to be doing once this setup process is finished. And that's how you create customizable items with HelloCustom.